only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for
Generate, this is what we're going to try to do.
What your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. I have a dream.
Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Who's bringing? Like an hour, dude. I sit down, take another 20 minutes. So this boy's been like 90 minutes. I start recording audio, and I don't know what caused it. It might have been something that I did. I honestly couldn't tell you. But it was only recording on the left channel. So like no matter what I did, I like deleted the audio track. I deleted the entire file at one point, created an entire new one, and it would only record audio on the left side. So I'm like all inspired, feeling creative, sit down, work on this new song, and I'm just only getting audio from one side. And there's nothing you can do to fix it because the input only detects the left channel. So you can't go back in after the fact and like move it to the middle.
No.
Dude, audio is confusing.
It's a very world canon thing to happen to your
It is, dude.
audio.
It was a technical difficulty world canon moment. I was like,
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, you really think that just simply recording some audio would be way easier than it turns out to be, but man, does it turn out to be hard sometimes.
it's hard.
Especially
really
when
hard.
you have no idea what you're doing.
When you
Like
have no
me.
idea what you're doing, and every voice is so unique and distinct.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to sound like just each level of EQ is going to sound different. You know,
Yeah.
like someone can have a super low voice and it's like it's going to be need to be mixed differently than
Mm-hmm.
someone else's.
Yeah, I've noticed with this, I have to adjust our mics differently before we start recording, which
Yeah.
hopefully they're adjusted correctly right now. Which, wow, we're back.
We're back.
Finally.
We're back.
I know I said we were going to take a little break, but I lost the microphones, and it took me 3 months, but I finally found them, so Alex and I can finally record another episode and bring it back to you, lovely listeners. If there's anyone left, if there's anyone out there
Anyone's still remaining.
holding on, waiting for another episode of World Canon,
Just foaming at the mouth.
don't
Waiting.
thank you for after 3.5 long months.
Has it really been that long, dude? It's so
not
overdue.
giving up hope. It would have been less because there was supposed to be a Christmas episode, but that unfortunately went down the tank.
Audio's hard.
Yes, I made the mistake of trying to use a soundboard with funny fart sounds that Alex and I laughed at for
It was a
about an
great
hour.
idea.
It was awesome.
On paper, it's fantastic.
And it would have worked had it not been for the weird microphone effect that I had turned on at the same time that you couldn't notice while recording. But when I went back to listen to it, it made all of both our voices echo over, and there's no way to reverse it in the post editing process. So it just made the entire hour-long episode sound like trash, and there was nothing I could do about it. So sad. So extremely tragic. But we're back.
We're back. We're here now.
And man, has a lot happened.
I know. And it doesn't feel like that long. Like
No.
it does, but it doesn't.
It's been a very busy 3 months.
It has, yeah.
Outside of this, work for me, Alex for you. Actually, you got some exciting news.
I do?
Yeah, right? I mean,
Is this a music related thing?
Yes.
Okay. See, I got confused because I like disassociate music from like everything else in my life. Like nobody at work. I keep it separate from work.
yeah.
Like no one I work with. I don't like. I don't know. It's just not my thing.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
want to
that's
be
fair.
distracting. You know, like he makes like no. So, yes. To your point, yes, I did release a single 2 weeks ago, and then I have another one
yeah.
coming out in April.
Heck yeah.
And then from there, I basically just have a bunch of other stuff ready to put out.
Sick.
It's just going to take time, but it's all finished. I have a project that's mostly finished. It's going to be most likely 3 songs.
Sweet.
To be determined on the date for that. But yeah, lots to come. So
Sweet.
really excited.
All right. Awesome. And the link for that will be in the episode, as always.
Love that.
In the description below. as they say. Funny you mentioned not talking about your music at work. My entire workplace now knows about this
Podcast?
Yeah.
How to come up?
Yeah. I can't even remember. It was so long ago. It was like 3 months ago now that they found out.
Yeah.
But so I'm kind of close with the one project manager that I work under.
Okay.
And he and I got talking about history actually. And I was like, I kind of like history.
Did you expose yourself, or did he like somehow find out?
I exposed myself to him.
Okay.
That sounds weird. But
I dropped my drawers right there.
Yeah, right there. We're really close. When I say I'm close with this guy, I mean
close.
we're really close.
Different kind of close.
Yeah. And he's gonna listen to this and he's gonna know exactly who he is.
Yeah.
Because there's not many people there. And then he kind of told everybody, which I should have known that was gonna happen.
Okay.
But I don't mind. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
He listens to it now. Another guy listens to it now. So
See, isn't that funny as like doing any art form where you have to publicly release it with like people you're close to, you almost want to like keep it away.
Yeah.
But then everyone else in the entire universe, 8 billion people, you're like, please watch this. Please listen to my song. Please watch my podcast.
Yeah.
And like people you work with, you're like, no, please. Don't tell anyone.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is how I feel. But like, if we want this thing to grow, I think the best option is telling the people that we know, and then they'll push it.
Yeah,
and then it'll grow, and then they'll stop listening to it, and then people we don't know will listen to it more.
Yeah,
which is how we want it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm probably going to hear about this.
You probably will
next week if I can get this out by tomorrow, which it is Friday, March the 14th. Man, it has been so long since
I know, dude. It has been almost the whole first quarter of this year.
Yeah. No, that's insane.
Plus
last
some
time
of
we
last
recorded
year.
Was, I think, December.
When in December?
Early December. I think first week of... No, it was right before Christmas. Because I was trying to get the Christmas episode out 3 days before Christmas.
You're right.
And then that didn't happen at all. And it ruined Christmas for me.
And then the Grinch stole
and
Christmas.
You opened your gifts and everything, and the gifts were so funny because I got Alex joke gifts, which, by the way, I got Alex gifts and he didn't get me any.
That is not true. That's a lie.
He didn't bring me any, which means
I did have
I'm
the gift.
I'm a better friend.
Sad. I did have the gift at home, and I just spaced it and was like, just one of those things.
Yeah, no, Alex did.
But I gave it to him in the end.
Yes.
And he has some new Glock bags.
Yes.
And a super sick hat that he's going to wear every day.
Thoughtful gift, actually. It was very, very nice, which kind of makes me feel bad about yours that I got for you because mine were kind of joke gifts.
I like that stuff, though.
Yeah.
My lady got me a bunch of stuff like that. Dude, for Christmas, she got me, it's cotton candy, but it's branded on the outside as Trump hair. Oh, so it's like dyed blonde, and it was butterscotch flavor. Ooh. And it literally looks like you're eating Trump's hair. It's great.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Trump flavored cotton candy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
From Trump hair.
Yeah. No, you got me a couple of really nice Glock mags and a hat. Have you used your thermos yet?
No, I haven't. It's sitting on my my nightstand, though.
That makes me feel really good.
And it looks hilarious.
Have you at least read the book to your cat?
I did do that. That was the first thing I did when I got home that night.
Okay, you need to teach your cat about gun safety.
She needs to know.
Yeah.
I have too many guns.
You got guns and you have a cat.
And I don't have a safe. Exactly. So if anyone's going to get their hands on those guns, it's going to be my cat.
Anybody going to get their paws on your guns? Their paws. It's going to be your cat.
Those toe beans.
Dude, I don't even know what to do now. It's been so long.
I know.
I don't know where to go from this.
I don't either.
We're in the middle of moving.
Yeah.
I am. So we're no longer in the studio at the moment. We're actually in my living room, sitting on the couch. And honestly, this is so much better than the little chairs.
I don't know what we were doing.
Dude, it's so funny because you know how like most podcasts, when they start out, they'll start out in the person's living room.
Yeah.
Friends sitting on a couch, just hanging out.
We started out
couple little crappy,
2 steps behind that.
Yeah, a couple little crappy handheld microphones and something. And then they'll move up to the microphones on boom arms in the studio with chairs. We've done the polar opposite. We've done like the Benjamin Button version of podcasts where I went all out at the start.
Yeah.
Got a whole studio set up, foam on the walls, a little light up sign, camera, microphone arms, everything, whole 9 yards. And then we have gone down to sitting on the couch.
But it's so much better.
It is.
It is. Those chairs, I'm not gonna lie, so uncomfy.
They were.
They were.
They were, and I'll admit that. And I'm glad I sold them on Marketplace
Nice, dude. Nice.
for, I think, more than what I
Now
bought
someone
them
else can
for.
start a podcast in those chairs.
Yes.
And then
Those
move,
uncomfortable, rocky chairs.
level up to the couch.
Uh-huh.
See, I feel like I could sit here for hours too.
Yeah. I honestly might fall asleep.
Yeah. And the view's pretty sick too.
It is.
I never actually like acknowledged how nice the view is out of this apartment.
No, I love our
This is
view
sweet.
here, which, I mean, is the one part I'm really going to miss about moving.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how this is going to sound, because we're going somewhere with wood floors, so it might be kind of tricky to get this to sound good again
A
there.
little
But
echoey, but
yeah, it might be
fine.
echoey for the next year worth of episodes.
nothing a little noise gate can't fix.
Yeah, we'll get it figured out. We'll get it figured out. But we've rambled on for about 10 minutes here. And the good person who has stuck around after 3
Good Samaritan.
to listen to a new episode is probably biting at the reins to hear what we have to talk about today.
Licking their chops.
And I didn't tell you what we were talking about
No.
today.
And it was funny because my fiance asked me before I left. She's like, "Did Chris tell you what you guys the topic is for
No.
the podcast?" And I
And
go,
I'm
"No,
sorry.
he never tells me."
I completely forgot.
Actually, no, you do tell me.
I've been out of the loop. No, okay, so
Kind of.
I got a couple stories in. We could just do those.
Okay.
And here we are doing shop talk on the fly.
We are talking
On there.
shop. Yeah.
We'll hash this out real quick. So I got a couple episodes written. We could do that.
Okay.
And then next time we could do like the loose form ones. Give you a little more time to think of some stuff. But
Cool.
I mean, we kind of already got some ideas planned. We just have to actually get together to do them.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first story. I'm sure everyone will enjoy because it's one of our favorite topics here on World Canon. One of our favorite themes, I should say. Alex, you want to take a guess what that is?
Guns.
Close.
America.
It's actually cannibalism.
I did not see that coming. Dude. Oh. I did not see that coming. But it makes sense, though, after Donner Party.
Yeah, our Donner Party episode was 2 parts. We loved talking about cannibalism.
I know, which is... I don't know what that is.
I don't know what to think about myself either. But do you remember? I don't know if I said it on here, but do you remember how I said how I wanted to start this thing as a world history podcast, and so far we have done nothing but episodes about American history.
Yes.
Okay, except for the Mongolian episode, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, and a little bit of the tobacco episode had to do with elsewhere, if I remember correctly.
Bananas, I
Right,
think.
I think so,
the
yeah.
Banana episode.
Yeah, wasn't a lot of it like South America?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was very American
Yeah.
centered.
Yeah. It's a good point, though. I didn't really think about that until now.
Well, this time we're going back to South America
Oh,
to
our southern friends.
our southern compadres, and specifically Argentina. Alex, I'm curious. Have you ever heard about a little something called the 1972 Andes plane crash?
Nope.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a really big story, actually.
Interesting.
Well, I don't know. I think it's kind of big. My in-laws know about it, but they're from Argentina, so
That adds up.
yeah, they would know a thing or two about it. But no, this is a very renowned story of harsh winter survival and just sort of the bonding of people through surviving the worst case scenarios and, of course, cannibalism,
There's always got to be cannibalism.
which we love on here. And I think we're going to have fun with this because if history repeats itself, pun intended, much like the Donner Party, we will have a lot of good laughs with this one.
Dude, it's always like with stuff, cannibalism,
Cannibalism.
to just like imagine humans eating each other. Mm-hmm. What has to happen for humans to eat each other?
Well, let's find out.
It's always an adventure that on paper
It
sounds phenomenal.
Just a jump. You don't just get there.
No. It's like
It's
9
a
million things
process.
happen, and then humans are stranded somewhere, and then they start eating each other.
Mm-hmm. Well,
That was the most casual.
no, people eating other people.
Yeah, it's great. It's a good time.
Should we get started?
Let's do it.
Alrighty. In October of 1972, the Old Christian rugby team, that was the name of the school, was Old Christian, based in Montevideo, Uruguay. Now, there's a lot of Spanish. Okay, take a quick little pause. There's a lot of Spanish in this story. And if certain people I know listen to this who speak Spanish very well, please do not judge me later, make fun of me later for my mispronunciations of all of these Spanish words. Thank you.
If it makes you guys feel better too,
Gracias.
he mispronounces English words as
Yes,
well. So
I do. Like the
Not too much of a
Federal
surprise.
Bureau of Investigation.
it was Baru.
Bureau, that's right.
Federal Bureau of Investigation. So nobody take offense to Chris's grammar issues.
It's not my fault, all right? I was homeschooled.
Hey, I'm good at math and science. Ain't no English around here.
I know Chinese, but no.
I speak Mandarin, but I cannot spell my own name.
Xing Pao Wang Kang. No, okay, all right. Anyway, back on track. Made up. Anyway, rugby team.
Yep.
Based in Montevideo, Uruguay, made up of 19 young men, most around the age of 19, planned on going to a Division 1 rugby match, which they were to compete in Chile.
I have heard about this.
Oh,
Did they make a movie? Did
Yeah, they made a movie.
Okay.
I think it's pretty new, actually.
I'm pretty sure you're right, yeah.
I've thought about watching it.
I have heard about this. I don't know any details. I just know the general, like what you just said is like all I know.
Yeah. I still haven't watched the movie about
Silk Road.
Silk Road, yeah.
It's a good movie.
Yeah. They released the
movie.
guy. Trump
Pardoned
pardoned the
him.
dude.
I saw that. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, that's crazy.
Trump pardoned
I think
Russell
you sent
Ulbricht.
me a text
did.
about that, and
I
I was
did,
like,
yeah.
what?
That's crazy. They're going to make another movie about him. Silk Road's back.
Dude.
Drugs from the internet back online.
Yes. Illegal guns,
Drugs are back on the menu,
unregistered
boys.
firearms, and meth.
Human organs. Murder for hire.
Dude, that one was crazy.
That was a really fun one.
Yeah, it was fun.
I'm,
I know what movie I'm watching when I get home.
yeah.
This one, whatever this
yeah.
one is. Yeah.
No, it's supposed to be really good, too. For many, it was their first time out of the country, and they were excited not only for the game, but for a chance to visit another city and just hang out and go out and enjoy life. On Friday the 13th in the early afternoon, that's already a bad start.
Yeah.
Early afternoon, the team, along with 26 other passengers, all of which were either support staff or family members, except for the 5 crew members, were aboard the Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571, which had been chartered for a civilian flight. The plane was an FH-227. Only 78 had ever been built, and 23 of those fell out of the sky.
That's a bad ratio. That's like imagine if you jumped out of a plane to go skydiving and like it was like, yeah, 60% of the time it works every time.
That's really not a good equation.
For a plane?
That's like if you're like putting that much trust in something in more than a third of those, is that right? No, not quite a third.
You said 78 and then what?
23 of them fell out of the sky.
So 50.
No, like a third.
55 out of 78 were successful.
Uh-huh. So
That is horrible.
nearly a third of those just stopped working. That's like,
Imagine like buying a gun and like, hey, a third of the time it just shoots itself. Yeah. It just goes off.
you have a 1 in 3 chance of when you fire this gun, it blows up in your hand. And kills you.
You know the transmission in your car? Yeah,
You're
30% of
never-
the time it's going to fall out of the car. Yeah, let's go on a road trip that's 17 hours long with no cell service.
This is a great toaster, all right? But there's a 1 in 3 chance that when you push down the lever, it electrocutes you. I would never use the toaster.
Dude, I imagine though, I mean, this is is this like it's a school rugby team
Yes.
in South America?
Like a high school rugby team, yeah.
In South America. Mm-hmm. Their budget's not high.
No. No, it's not. They're using...
They have a great value plane is what they have. It's a Kroger plane, dude.
This is the Uruguayan Air Force plane, all right? They're using leftovers from countries like the U.S.
This is hand-me-downs. This is a hand-me-down plane. Yeah. It crashes 30% of the time. That's so bad.
That's why it's a hand-me-down plane.
Oh, that's so bad, dude.
Oh, man, yeah. I'm coming off of a cold, too, so...
Dude,
laughing
it's sixth
is
season.
making me cough.
I got hammered at the end of January. I took like a whole week off of work. Oh. And my lady got hammered too. She was out for like 2 weeks. Oh, and I was cooked for like a week and a half.
No, that's rough.
Yeah.
Something's going around.
Something, yeah.
Another bout of COVID.
One of them new strains. Released by the Chinese 2025. No. Experimenting on those bats again.
This bat has a 1 in 3 chance of giving you COVID.
You wouldn't go near the bat.
Okay, anyway, 23 of these planes fell out of the sky. Pilots referred to it as a lead sled because it was bulky, heavy, and underpowered. Not a great formula for an aircraft.
Dude, I have to cut you off. So I go to the airport one time a few years ago. I was flying home from California. And I go up, I'm going to like give the lady my ticket. Okay, and I go up. And she looks at the plane. She goes, "It's a beaut, ain't it?" And I go, yeah, it's a nice looking plane. She goes, "We call that one the meatball." And I look at her. And I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "Well, I mean, look at it. It looks like a meatball." And I'm like, "I don't want to get in the... Now I feel unsafe. I don't want to get in the meatball." And see, I feel like the plane they were flying in,
meatball?
It might have been a meatball.
The lead sled and the meatball.
Sorry to cut you off. I had to.
No, by all means. That was hilarious. You get on the plane and it says, "All right, wait, no, how do you do?"
That was more like an animal. I don't know what that was.
This is the Babel. No. Welcome aboard. Dude, I'm trying to do a meatball impression. I can't do it now. I used to be able to do it. Hold on. I gotta get in the zone. I call this the Babel. There we go.
The Babel.
Welcome aboard Air Meatball. Take you. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Thank you. Anyway, not a good formula for an aircraft.
Bad.
They had just spent the night in Mendoza, Argentina, during a long layover due to weather in the nearby Andes mountain range being too severe for flight. Things were still hazy and visibility was low, but at least the winds had died down enough to make the short jaunt across the mountain range into Chile. This flight would be like the short flight from Seattle to Spokane.
Like 40 minutes.
Literally, like a 40-ish minute
flight. Like an episode of your favorite TV show. Super fast.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
This is an extremely short, easy flight. For anyone not aware, Seattle to Spokane, literally, like Alex said, like a 40-minute flight.
Yeah.
Maybe an hour if it's really windy. Yeah. But like it's basically a bus ride.
You literally pop on your phone for a second and you're there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's
super quick nap. Yeah. Read one chapter of a book.
Yeah.
It's quick. This is what that flight is. All right. Gosh. This is what that flight is supposed to be. I should say.
It's supposed to be.
This is what it's supposed to be.
I anticipated it being like a super long flight, but
no. It's supposed to be like they're supposed to get there.
That makes it exponentially worse.
Yeah. You feel the dread rising right now? You got a 1 in 3 chance.
I'm just imagining a rugby team eating each other right now, dude.
Well, keep imagining. I'm going to help your imagination here in a little bit. At around 2:18 p.m., the plane took off from the runway. The flight was expected to only take a couple hours. Somewhere towards the center of the fuselage, Carlos Rodriguez sat at a window seat watching the snow-covered Andes pass under him in between the gaps of dense clouds. The rugby players joked and passed the time partying it up on their own private flight. They had all pulled together along with their friends and family with them to be able to afford to buy out the flight to have it all to themselves. They had wine on board and were enjoying it as they talked about the nice clothes they were going to buy and Santiago and types of dates they would take some girls on who wanted to go out with some Division I rugby players.
It sounds like coming back from war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, these are men.
Yeah.
They're young, but they're men. They're rugby players.
Yeah.
They're big, burly,
Big
strong.
boys. Yeah.
Spanish.
Shoulders are broken.
Yeah. Some sports-related injuries. In a lot of torn ACLs going around.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's a bad ligaments.
In the cockpit, Colonel Ferradas and his co-pilot, Lagurera, there we go, were going over flight procedures. Lagurera was a new pilot and somewhat inexperienced. He had never flown over the Andes before. However, Ferradas had many times, 29 to be exact, and was a very skilled pilot. They decided to use the flight as an opportunity for Lagurera to gain some high-altitude experience while also flying with low to no visibility using only flight instruments for navigation.
In a plane that crashes 30% of the time.
Yes. Well, no, you give the new guys the cheaper toys the cheaper tools to
Give them the
practice
Nerf gun to practice with. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You give them the plastic plane.
RC car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As they flew over the mountain range, Lagurera showed caution and an ability to listen, so Ferradas was confident in his student's ability to take control for the rest of the flight, at least until they approached Santiago. At around 3:20 p.m., Lagurera was navigating entirely by radio communication. He thought they had overshot their point of descent for their final approach to Santiago, even though they were still several minutes from that point, and asked flight control for permission to descend. With absolutely no radar confirmation on Flight 571, flight control gave Lagurera permission to descend over 3,500 meters, not realizing he was still over the Andes. They had been cruising at 5,500 meters. So, do a little bit of math here.
They're crashing into a mountain.
Yes. They're about to hit a mountain.
Dude.
Carlos Rodriguez felt himself grow weightless as the plane shook violently with turbulence. Some of the players joked they were going to crash.
You spoke it into existence.
Oh, the irony. He couldn't see anything through his window as they descended through the clouds when suddenly there was a mountain right outside his window, too close to the plane's wing for comfort. He was thinking this probably wasn't normal when he was pushed hard against his seat by momentum and gravity. Everyone else fell back into the plane, or everyone else fell back into their seats, and the world outside turned 90 degrees as the plane angled straight up. The underpowered engines fighting hard to lift the lead sled before stalling. Then, Carlos felt the plane lurch hard. He thought they had hit the mountain. But it kept moving forward, then it jerked hard again, but still it climbed until finally it hit hard again. That's when Carlos heard what sounded like steel snapping and ripping behind him into his side as the right wing, an entire tail section of the plane broke off and tumbled down the mountain with 5 passengers inside, including 2 crew who died. 2 more were sucked out when the tail ripped off, including 18-year-old Carlos Veleta, who survived the fall, landing in deep snow. You're so quiet over there.
I'm just, I'm just processing it in my mind. When like a very vivid aspect of a story plays out in your head.
Yeah.
Like you're reading a book or someone's explaining something to you.
Yeah.
It's all playing out in my head.
No, that's good. That's good. I'm glad that's how you feel right now, because that's how the people listening feel. And, it makes me feel like I did a good job writing this, but right now all I'm trying to focus on is pronounce everything correctly and not make too
Not
many
get canceled.
swallowing sounds into the microphone.
Yeah.
But I get that. That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you. The fuselage flew several hundred more meters by sheer momentum before sliding into a snow bank at nearly 220 miles per hour, then came to an abrupt halt, breaking the passenger seats free, killing 4 more passengers towards the front, who were instantly crushed against the bulkhead. Pilot Fredes was also killed instantly as his head went through the windshield of the cockpit. However, La Guerrera survived, though he was pinned badly by his steering yoke being forced against his ribcage and squeezed inside the crushed cockpit.
Is he the inexperienced pilot or the...
Yes.
Okay.
So the captain is dead, co-pilot is alive but pinned. And with lots of broken ribs.
Yeah.
And probably internal bleeding. And who knows what else.
He's getting eaten first.
He had several broken bones and was bleeding badly and, of course, was in a lot of pain. Of the 45 total passengers, only 33 survived the crash, but not all were to survive what came next. Excuse me, I gotta cough out some phlegm.
Yeah, and for anyone listening, for context, like, obviously, yes, we're making fun of a very horrible situation. No one would listen to this if we just told the story and got really sad. That's how humans process things, at least me personally. It's like something horrible. It's like I have to joke. It has to be funny. Mm-hmm. You know? Think about it. Even when you're watching like a super sad movie, there's punchlines in there.
Yeah.
You know, there's some dark humor.
Whatever, it happened 53 years ago.
Yeah. Gotta poke a little fun.
Alive. Actually, some of the guys who are still alive. There's one dude, I think it was Carlos Rodriguez, who does interviews about this. And the way he talks about it almost sounds like he enjoyed it. He's crazy.
He ate people, didn't he?
Yeah. And he was like, we did it to survive.
I was hungry.
It was, yeah. Listen, you just roll it up in a tortilla and it's pretty
Tell me rumble I eat.
I don't feel bad about it at all. I thank God every day for letting me live, and yeah, I would do it again. No, but he seems very chill about it in the interviews he does.
I bet, dude. I mean, he's probably so desensitized to life. Like,
living in South America really hardens a man.
And living through that, dude, everything's just got to be like pish posh comparatively. Like, oh my gosh, dude.
Every meal probably tastes really good. Much better.
Oh, chicken. Love me some chicken.
Just some Kellogg's cereal.
Dude, think about how much like he probably can't talk about. That just like lives in his head and he like can't voice it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what he hides behind his smiling eyes.
That's why he's so chill.
It's
like if they knew what I was really thinking.
It's like guys from the military, the most chill ones who don't really talk about anything are the ones who went through the most.
Yep.
So the guys who act super bravado and talk about it all the time.
Never saw combat.
Yeah. They did nothing but scrub bathroom floors in trucks.
Yeah.
And that's why they act all tough, because they're angry. That's all they did.
That's what's interesting about the military. There's so many different roles.
Yeah, there are.
Like, I know my fiance's best friend, her husband's a...
That's all I have to say about
Air Force mechanic or something?
Yeah, there are.
Yeah, there's so many different roles. But yeah, anyways, a bunch of people just died in a plane crash.
Mm-hmm. And then ate some.
And then we're getting to the...
We'll get to that part.
To dinner.
We get to it very quickly, I will say. The Donner Party took a while to get there.
It did. It was a lot of like denial and like emotion. Mm-hmm. And I'm interested to see how long it takes.
No, these guys get to it very quickly.
Just right away.
And,
dude, a rugby team? That's like worst case scenario.
They're big. They got it.
They have to eat, dude.
They burn more calories than those Donner Party people did.
Yeah.
All right? They have a good excuse. No, I will say, and I mean, this isn't really much of a spoiler, but the Donner Party they were more prepared in the sense that they weren't prepared because they were dumb and they went into the mountains following a guide that they shouldn't have followed.
Yeah.
But they had wagons of stuff.
Yes.
Because they were ready for a long journey.
They anticipated
the guys
some
on
negative
the plane
things.
were going on a 2-hour plane ride. And they weren't prepared for something
They
like
were
this.
drinking wine and talking about chicks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like not
exactly.
like not like you guys know we could die out here, so we have a ton of
No.
supplies just in case that happens. We get
Exactly.
stranded. Yeah,
So they very quickly.
dude. Yeah, that's a good point.
Deteriorate.
Like, what would they even like resort to for like food and?
Oh, you'll see. You'll see.
I mean, each other, obviously.
Oh, no, well, I mean there were some other steps, and we'll talk about.
Go get
that.
the little Alaska Airlines cookie. You know, like
the little
what are they
bag of
supposed
green
to eat?
peanuts.
Yeah. Little like 7-ounce Sprites they give you.
Eating the earbuds.
Yeah, start eating the foam from the
Dude,
seeds.
I got boxed water on a plane.
Oh, yeah,
right
dude,
recently.
Yeah,
It's tragic.
it's always
We
boxed water.
Have fallen as a country. We used to be a great nation, and
This is
now
the
we're
fall of an empire.
now we're drinking water out of boxes.
You've heard Tim Dillon talk about this.
No, actually,
You haven't? On
Did
Rogan?
he talk about it?
Not this,
Oh.
but just like America. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
Okay,
I thought you meant
okay.
he like talk about cardboard box. I actually haven't listened to Tim Dillon in a
love
minute.
Timmy.
I need to though.
Timmy.
He's
great.
I've got a bunch of episodes on his podcast I need to catch up on. Anyway, our podcast. Let's get back to it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Where even was I?
They were just crashing.
Yes,
And people were,
dying.
yeah.
Carlos set to helping take care of the injured passengers. Many had broken limbs. One named Arturo had both legs broken. Another, Nando Parrado, had a skull fracture and would remain unconscious for the next 3 days, while other survivors monitored him. Robert Canessa and Gustavo Zerbino, two of the young rugby players, were medical students and began working on the survivors in order of who they could help best. The passengers also found La Guerrera trapped in the cockpit, who was in excruciating pain by now, and begged them to try to find his pistol to shoot him, but no one would do it.
That is real, dude. Oh my gosh.
All
That's
right,
so
here's a question for you.
terrifying.
Here's a real friendship test here.
Okay.
If you and I were, say, stranded somewhere, and I was grievously injured, and you have no way of treating me, and I was in excruciating pain, and there was nothing else we could do about the pain, and I asked you to just shoot me, would you do it?
I'd have to have a very long conversation with God. A very long conversation. And by that time, you might just bleed out. Like, it might take me a couple days.
You're like, finally, okay, Chris, I'll do it. And I'm just,
Like, I'm going to need 7 business
Death
days
spasms.
to process this. I mean,
already just glazed over eyes, dead.
like,
been
well,
long dead.
since we're out here, like, only if I can eat you. You know? Because
And we already had the conversation about if we would eat somebody, what we would eat first. I said thighs.
without hesitation. Like, before I even finished, but just bye.
Thighs. That's cool, thighs.
I don't know. I don't have an answer to that question.
Huh.
If it was like you were for sure like gone, like it's either you sit
Yes,
there
I
in
was
pain.
for sure gone. You know this already.
If I know that already, then again I'd have to pray. But yes, yeah, I think so. Rather than let you sit there for who knows how long in agony.
Yeah, I'd shoot you instantly. You want to see how fast I can draw? Yeah, okay. A speed draw.
What'd you say?
Just what? Oh, you're like, Chris, please put me. Oh,
It's like
Ooh,
the scene in
nice.
Game of Thrones with Arya and the
0.3
Hound.
seconds. Draw to shoot.
Fast. That's so
That's a good
fast.
time.
That's I don't know if
Wish
that's
you
a
could
real
have seen
time.
it. Wish you could be here to witness that with me. You'd be proud of me.
You have a little shot timer too. You're like, stand by. Beep.
Wait, Chris, please put me on my mystery. Okay, one second. Gotta turn on my timer.
I gotta record it too.
Beep.
Put the timer up to the camera. Guys, that was a 0.3. All right, you see that? 0.3?
You're just
Just dead.
a hole in your head.
Oh, that's a Family Guy skit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
The last one to throw up wins. We should do that on the podcast.
I don't know if our viewers would appreciate that. The audio to that would be excruciating.
We'll do that one on camera. Yeah, no one would shoot the pilot. As Carlos and the other passengers reeled from shock and tried to help each other the best they could, they looked to their team captain, young Marcelo Perez, who was the only leader they'd known and would be their leader now, even though surviving the conditions they found themselves in was totally different from a rugby game.
Yeah.
Despite everything, they were all pretty confident they would be rescued. If not that day, then within the next day or two. However, they would have to survive the extreme cold long enough for that to happen. Those who could stand worked hard to close off the fuselage, piling up luggage, seats, and snow to create a makeshift shelter. Thanks to Fido Strauch, or Strauch, it's weird. I'm going to say Strock.
Strock sounds, yeah.
Who was surprisingly resourceful. They even managed to come up with some snowshoes using seat cushions, and later he would even make a solar-powered water collector from metal from the plane and makeshift sunshades to keep people from going snowblind.
That is some improvising.
Yeah, this guy does a lot for everybody.
Okay.
He's a pretty cool character. Pretty quickly, darkness settled in, and the survivors huddled together using whatever they could for warmth for a fitful night with little sleep. The next morning, there was still no sign of rescue. That night, 5 more passengers died, including La Guerrera. The others buried their bodies in the snow. For 2 more days, the survivors struggled to avoid snow blindness and freezing to death. Nando, we'll just say Nando, finally awoke. He had come with his family, and unfortunately his mother was one of the ones to die in the crash. However, his sister Susanna still lived, though she was badly injured. Nando quickly took to caring for her day and night. Thankfully, someone found a small radio on the plane. When they turned it on, they got no signal, so Roy Harley made an antenna extension from wire off the fuselage, which allowed them to pick up a faint signal coming from search and rescue. But of course, they could not communicate in any way. Because, I guess I should clarify, this was just like a little AM radio. It's like a little listening radio, so no two-way communication going on. So they could only listen in, sadly. They would continue to monitor the radio each day, keeping track of the search and rescue effort. Meanwhile, they realized they may be stuck for a while, so they took stock of available food. They dug through luggage and under wreckage, coming up with 8 chocolate bars, 3 small jars of jam, 1 can of mussels, 1 can of almonds, a handful of dried plums and dates, chocolate peanuts, and several bottles of wine.
That sucks.
Good snacks. Good snacks. They carefully rationed this out amongst the now 28 surviving members and hunkered back down trying to stay warm. For several days, they staved off hunger, blindness, and boredom the best they could, being extremely careful not to eat all their rations. Nando even made a single chocolate-covered peanut last 3 whole days.
Dude. Just like
it just reminds me of that scene from Pirates of the Caribbean 3 where Jack Sparrow's in the underworld and he's like eating that 1/2 of a peanut with a fork.
You'd be like a squirrel, dude. That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
I can't imagine. Dude, I'm such a foodie.
Yeah.
I couldn't do starvation.
No, you'd be chomping at people's thighs on day 2.
I'd be eating them alive. Carlos did his best to ignore the pain growing in his stomach and focus on the thought of getting home. Trying to get creative and help their own search and rescue effort, they brainstormed ideas to make it easier to spot them from the air. First, they grabbed as much luggage as they could to form a large X next to the fuselage. Someone also found red lipstick, which they tried to use to write a large SOS sign on top of the plane, but ran out of lipstick. Despite their best efforts, no one spotted them, even during the several instances a search and rescue plane flew over their position. Yeah, very unfortunate. Every morning, they expected to find someone else frozen to death. On the 9th day, Nando's sister succumbed to her injuries in the cold, and she too died and was buried in the snow with the rest. 2 more days passed, and they had run out of the food they had so carefully rationed. That's when the desperation really set in for them.
So how long has it been since they crashed?
11 days now.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Yeah. And they're already out of food.
11 days, no food. People are dying left and right.
Mm-hmm.
No signs of help
Yeah.
whatsoever. And they're in the middle of nowhere. They are probably so far from anything civilized.
Well, the thing is, linear distance-wise, they're
but terrain.
only a few miles from Santiago, which is a major city.
Yeah, right.
But terrain-wise,
they're in the mountains.
they're thousands of feet up
Yeah.
in this little saddle between these two big ridges buried in snow.
Aren't the mountains down there insane?
Yeah, they're the Andes. They're like
humongous.
they're like the big Rockies here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super high up. They're like the Alps.
Oh, dude.
Massive elevation.
Yeah.
Massive mountains. Very rough terrain. Like you can't get up there by foot. Well, I mean you can, but it's extremely difficult.
You got to know what the hell you're doing. You got to be an expert.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And these guys aren't. They're 19-year-old rugby players.
Oh.
Who were ready for warmer weather. Not being up in the freezing, snowy, icy mountains.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah.
And the cannibalism is about to
And
begin.
cue the cannibalism.
Wait, I want to make a prediction before you continue. They're going to start unburying the bodies in the snow to eat them.
Ding, ding, ding. Wait, all right, further prediction. Which one do they eat first?
How many people they bury?
A lot.
You said there's 28 left.
I know. Yeah, well, 28 left out of 43. Well, some of them fell out of the wing, so they don't even know where they are.
Right.
So, wow, I'm so bad at math. 43 minus 28
15.
is 5. Yes, I was going to say that. 15. 5 went out the back of the plane, so that'd be 10. So they've buried 10.
Okay. I feel like they'll either eat someone that like just died, like another person's gonna die, and they'll just eat them, or they'll just turn ravenous and start digging out bodies out of that snow, dude. It's about to get
Well,
bad.
maybe I included it in here. I wrote this forever ago, so
Yeah.
I don't really want to start saying stuff and then just read the exact same thing I just said.
I feel like it's about to get evil. I don't like it.
But they're very Catholic. Remember, this is South America, and they're from like a Christian school. They're like a Christian rugby team.
So it's okay. The
They're
Pope will
Catholic,
forgive
so
them.
Yeah. So they're very, very, very religious, and they're very moralistic. So
That's probably why they didn't have the audacity to shoot that guy when he asked them to.
yeah.
They're probably all too like,
I
I
don't want to go to hell
I
for
can't
it.
put that on my conscience,
Yeah.
bro. Even if you're gonna die anyways, like that's tough.
Sorry, dude. You gotta do it on your own.
Sorry, bro.
Trying to get. Wait. Yep. See, I'm rereading the same thing I just read. Here we go. On the 9th day, Nando's sister succumbed to her injuries in the cold, and she too died and was buried in the snow with the rest. 2 more days passed, and they had run out of food. They had so carefully rationed. That's when the desperation really set in for them. Then, to make matters worse, as they listened to search and rescue on the radio, they heard the announcement that the effort had been called off. They were officially on their own.
All right, they have moral permission to start eating people if they're dead. If they're dead, I think they have moral permission. If that's what you got to do to survive, no one's coming to save you. You're out in the mountains. It's been almost 2 weeks. Moral permission to start eating people.
Yeah, you guys are good. It's fine. Now, no food, no one looking for them. They turned very hungry and desperate. At high altitude and extreme cold, the night would drop to -30s Fahrenheit.
Oh my gosh.
The human body consumes an extreme amount of calories to survive in extreme cold. Since they now had empty stomachs, their bodies almost immediately turned to consuming its own fuel source, or itself for its own fuel source. Being the fit rugby players they were, their stomachs made quick work of their muscles and what little fat they had. Some later described being able to feel their own bodies eating themselves alive.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Starvation was very quick to set in, and if anyone remembers the Donner Party episodes, extreme cold and starvation don't mix well.
No, dude. And I don't know anyone who's listening has like what experience you have with like playing with calories and kind of how your body reacts to those things. But when you're in like, this is completely different. I'm just talking about like on a civilized side, when you're in a deficit, like a true deficit, maybe even like a crash diet, something that's not healthy.
No, when I cut, it's like starving on a freezing cold mountain.
Dude. Well, no, but
I would equal it to this.
True. But I mean, even like, dude, you go on a 1,000 calorie deficit for like, on day 3, you're like eating everything in the kitchen, including the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
Like your body gets so upset. So something like this.
Fingernails.
Protein. It's keratin and protein.
I'm nibbling on my arms.
Yeah, I can't even imagine this, dude. Scary.
No, I like food too much.
Yeah.
At first, they tried eating leather from shoes and belts, but that only succeeded in making them sick. Some of them even tried eating the cotton filling from the plane seats, which obviously didn't work either. Pretty quickly, they all knew what needed to be done if they were going to survive. Some gave their closer friends permission to eat their body if they died first, but no one could bring themselves to do it. Ultimately, though, starvation won. The pain was too unbearable, and Gustavo and Robert, the 2 medical students, were placed in charge of deciding how it would be done. Thankfully, due to the constant freezing temperatures, the bodies of the dead were easily preserved. They chose the pilots first, since no one really knew them, and it was kind of their fault any of them were in this mess to begin with.
That's horrifically funny.
All right, I get it.
That's morbidly funny.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
I'd probably do the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Using broken glass from the cockpit, they sliced thin slices the size of a matchstick from the pilots' bodies and hung them in the sun to dry. Then some, but not all the survivors, took their share and ate, fighting off starvation for another day. Everyone on board were staunch Catholics, and here we go. And to them, eating human flesh was a damning sin. So to make it go down easier, they would treat it like taking communion, though a couple like, see if I can pronounce these names right, Koche and Numa ate only enough to stay alive, ultimately leading to Numa's death. Trying to find some sort of advantage, some of the stronger in the group made short jaunts around the crash site looking for supplies. They ended up tracking down the tail section of the plane while on an attempt to make it out of the Andes and find help, where they found a battery, more food, rum, coke, comic books, medicine, and cigarettes.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Especially the cigarettes.
Dude, imagine it's been almost 2 weeks. Little rum
This
and
is like
coke
finding
and a cigarette.
gold.
That might actually kill you.
In a
at that
comic
point.
book.
Yeah.
Let's go. For you going out in style.
Some sign
a little
of,
bit
like,
of comfort.
Yeah, dude, some sign of human existence. Like, oh, God.
They had arrived at the tail section after a day of walking, and the next night nearly froze to death. So they decided to return to the fuselage to try to use the battery they found to power the radio in the cockpit. That sadly didn't work, since the radio in the cockpit required AC power and the battery could only provide DC power. Highway to hell. Back in black.
Dude, this whole thing just sucks.
It's
So
just
bad.
one thing after another, really.
It's like sometimes when you read stories like this, it feels like you're watching a movie where it's just like Murphy's Law. Everything's just Murphy's Law.
They can't win.
Like everything that could possibly be bad is bad.
Yeah. Every possible, conceivable thing that could go wrong happens.
Oh, we have a radio, but we can't use it to call anyone.
We found a battery for the radio, but it's the wrong type of battery. Like, what? How?
Oh my God.
How? Back at the fuselage, more than 2 weeks had now passed, and it was October 29th. The food they found was gone once again, and they were back to eating human flesh. Then disaster struck that night as everyone slept. Sometime around midnight, a big avalanche buried the fuselage and everyone inside, suffocating 8 more people, including the last crew member and Marcelo Perez, the team captain.
Dang.
I know.
Not the main character.
No. Not the captain. For nearly 3 days following, an intense blizzard kept everyone trapped inside the fuselage, stuck between snow, debris, and dead bodies. They still had to eat though, and feed on those suffocated in the avalanche. Unable to dry the meat this time, some, like Prado, described it being greasy with pieces of wet cartilage still stuck in it, making them gag as they tried to eat it. Yeah.
Does it get worse than this?
I don't.
You know, when you're in
think
like a
so.
really bad situation and you're like, okay, well, it could be worse. Like, if you're in that situation, in your mind, are you like, can it be worse? Or is this like the worst thing you could experience?
Honestly, don't know what the worst part is: eating the greasy human flesh or being cold
All of it.
and wet, buried in
Oh,
snow.
dude,
I
oh
hate
my
being
God.
cold.
Same.
I really don't like being cold.
Yeah, I was cold today and it was like 40.
Yeah,
I went for a
no,
walk at
dude,
work.
I've been
It was like, I'm freezing.
freezing all week, and it's not even that. It's like sunny.
Yeah.
Yesterday was kind of rough, but today was sunny all day, and I still walk outside. I'm like, it's too cold.
I
need to go
it's the
back
heater.
inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so spoiled now. I'm so used to working inside now all the time,
Yeah.
which is honestly nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm already such a creature of comfort already.
Mm-hmm. You get used to it, bro. Your body
do.
gets used to it.
You're really used
And you
to
go out
it.
in the cold, you're like, back inside.
Very quickly, I got used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gagging on cartilage.
Nice. Nice.
Finally, the blizzard lifted and they were able to dig themselves out for the next. Here we go. Here's a real big time jump. For the next 43 days.
No.
43 days.
So 2 weeks plus 43 days?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh.
So
2 months.
I just kind of wrote this in because nothing really happens
the
except for
same.
just trying to, yeah.
You try not to die.
So more than a month and a half almost. 43 days. The 19 survivors dwindled down to 16 as 3 more die very slowly. Arturo Arturo N. and Rafael Echevarren, I'm going to say that's right, die from an infection within a few days of each other. Then, 3 weeks later, on December 11th, Numa Turcati, or Tursati, I'm going to say Numa, I don't know why I keep trying. Numa finally succumbs to starvation. By then, he only weighed 55 pounds.
I can't even imagine that, dude.
A whole grown man weighing 55
I
pounds.
can't imagine that, dude.
I can curl that much.
Dude, have you, what's it called? Is it No, not Ex Machina. Christian Bale got really big for Batman. And then he got really skinny for that one role. I've never seen the movie, but you probably know what I'm talking about. It was like the early 2000s, mid 2000s.
Sure.
I think he's like 6'1 or 6'2. He got down to, I think, like 100 pounds. And he looks inhumane.
Like a Holocaust survivor.
Dude. This guy was 55 pounds.
That's insane.
55 pounds?
Yeah. I think he was a little bit of a shorter guy.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah.
The wind would just take him. Like,
He's the only one who makes it out because the wind blew him away.
just blows him into town. Yeah.
Like tumbling down the street like a plastic bag.
All he's got to do is just put his body out like this, like spread his lats, dude. They'll just fly.
He's probably got like loose skin.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, dude.
Bye.
I've never heard of a fully grown adult male that small. I mean, I get why, but that's crazy. That's crazy,
Wild.
dude.
You're talking about a calorie deficit. I got a calorie deficit for you.
2 months. You can only eat human thighs. And the occasional chocolate peanut.
Yeah. I like to suck on it for 3 days and then eat it. The small AM radio was still working, and they heard news the Uruguayan Air Force was restarting their search for whatever reason, but they weren't too hopeful with how last time had turned out. They knew they were going to have to go find help themselves if they were making it out. 3 of the strongest were chosen to try to make it down to Chile. Nando, Robert, and another named Antonio. Despite the distance they had to cover, they also needed to worry about the extreme cold at night. Last time a group tried to make it out, they almost froze to death. So, gathering as much cloth material as they could from the tail section of the plane, they sewed together a large makeshift sleeping bag big enough for all three of them.
Getting cozy with the boys.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. 3 guys, 1 sleeping bag. We gotta stay warm, guys.
Get in here, boys. Let me kiss you goodnight.
Skin on skin contact. Dude. Does wonders for keeping body warm.
Hey, bro, if I was them, though, I'd be snuggling my homies, bro. It's probably
I'd
so
be
cold.
Spooning
People are dying. Oh, my gosh.
And stop nibbling on my ear, but I'm starving.
Just a little taste. Just a little bite, please. We're really sorry for that segment, guys. That was super uncalled for.
I really hope none of these guys ever listen to this. I'm pretty sure all 3 of these are still alive. On December 12th, they set out across the slopes. It took 3 days for them to even reach the first peak to the west, which the others in the fuselage were able to watch their progress the whole way.
Wow, dude.
So, and if you looked at like pictures of this crash site, this slope is literally, it starts like a few yards from where the fuselage was and then just goes straight up. Oh, so it took them 3 days to just walk up that slope. Oh my gosh, dude. And everybody could just watch them the whole time.
That'd be like, I don't know, what would be worse, being on the expedition to go find help or watching it? Being like, yeah, we're going to die.
On.
We're all going to die.
This is our best hope.
That's all we got, dude. Oh.
Yeah. Beyond laid only more mountains. Antonio decided to turn back and gave the other 2 his jerky, dried human meat, and then using some scrap from the plane, sled back down the slope to the others, in what took them 3 days to climb in only an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude.
Which had to be a really fun sled. I'm not gonna lie. Took you an hour to sled down that thing. That had to be fun. If you weren't starving to death and probably freezing.
It's probably the best part of the whole thing for him.
It was, honestly. I would do that.
You'd be cooking too. You'd probably be going so fast.
Oh, yeah. That'd be sick.
Dude.
But a 3-day hike to get to that. I don't know if that's really worth it.
Yeah. 1 consecutive hour? Just down?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I'm assuming.
That's crazy.
I like to assume so.
Yeah.
That's funny to imagine that he's just going for an hour.
Yeah, dude. Oh. Just nibbling on some human jerky. It
just
ain't so bad.
Blown by his eyes.
Yeah.
This is actually kind of fun. Once past the peak, it was still slow going, but as they trudged along, they found something buried in the snow. We circle back. You call back from earlier. It was Carlos Valeto's body, frozen after he had suffocated when he fell into the deep snow trying to make his way to the crash site after falling out when the plane first fell apart. They found another body, Daniel Shaw's, who died in the crash. Food. Meat's back on the menu, boys. For close to a week, they continued their hike, making their way down a snowy valley until they found a river.
Nice.
They followed it until they started seeing some green and a herd of cows.
Oh, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine what's
steak
firing in your brain when you see a big old beef cow.
On December 21st, they spot some men with mules across the wide, deep river. They try yelling across but can't manage to communicate well. One of the men is able to shout tomorrow, and they leave. The guys across the river from them. Robert and Nando are left alone that night, but enjoy being warmed by a fire for the first time in 70 days.
Oh my gosh, bro.
70 days.
I feel like more people are dying at the crash site while they're doing this too, man.
I feel like that'd be so far from my mind at this point. I'm just like, oh, warm.
We're live.
Finally. I want to stick my whole body in that fire.
I'm just going to burn.
Yeah, this feels nice. The next morning, the men return and throw a paper attached to a rock across, in which Nando wrote a note back explaining everything. The man, whose name turned out to be Sergio Catalan, threw a loaf of bread back across the river, then rode several hours west until he found a truck to take him to a police station in the village of Puente Negro. The Chilean army in Santiago was alerted, which dispatched a helicopter rescue team to the area that Nando described. While Nando and Robert were taken to the town of Las Matenas, where they were fed and slept. Over December 22nd and 23rd, the remaining 14 survivors were rescued via helicopter, including Gustavo Antonio and Carlos Rodriguez, all in time for Christmas.
Christmas miracle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not really. Like, 30 people died. And the other ones that lived are scarred, probably.
For life.
Dude. Imagine, though, do you think
This would be a Christmas movie.
That's a rough Christmas movie. It's a sad Christmas. But do you think that there's a greater sense of accomplishment than what those two guys probably felt? Going all the way back, finding help, getting the police alerted. They've been out at it for 70 days. The thought crossed their mind, dude, where they probably were like, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I'm not going to make it out of this. In that moment where they get to the fire and they find people, they see civilization, and they realize that it's all going to be fine. Is there a greater sense of accomplishment? Like, you survived, dude.
I don't know, that sense of accomplishment is more of just a relief that it's over.
Sure. That's a better way to put it. Yeah.
Just like, oh, finally that nightmare's done.
Yeah.
Real food, bread.
Yeah.
They got a loaf of bread. Dude. Imagine how good that loaf of bread tasted.
Oh, man.
They probably got sick off of that loaf of bread.
That's insane, man.
I wonder if they got to play their rugby game.
No.
They were short a few players.
Short the whole team. How do you even go about moving forward in life after that? Like, if you're like a 19-year-old rugby player, and then like all that, I mean, obviously there's so many variables, but just like generally all that happens, like, what is the next step?
I wonder if any of them turned out to be like that German guy from the Donner Party that seemed to really enjoy eating people and ate those women and those kids.
It could happen.
Yeah.
Or could have happened.
Yeah. Well, another tale of cannibalism.
I want to watch this movie now.
Done and dealt.
I want to watch the movie now, but I'm also like, it's probably a heavy movie.
It's got to be.
It's got bad.
The trailer for it's pretty like dreadful.
Yeah.
I mean, just the trailer alone is kind of dreadful to watch.
Yeah.
But it should be a good movie. Like one of those dark movies that's just kind of like really good, but you only watch like once.
Because you know what it puts you
done.
through emotionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's like that movie Beast of No Nations.
I still haven't watched that.
Oh,
you
man.
told me it was really good.
We need to do a child soldier story.
You just got so excited about that.
We've got to, dude.
Okay.
We've got to. I even know a guy we could do a story about.
Okay.
And we need to do that sometime.
I'm down.
Because apparently we really like the dark tales.
We do, bro. We do.
They're fun.
Another movie similar, at least to me emotionally. Have you seen Iron Claw?
I don't even know what that
With
is.
it's Zac Efron and a few others. It's all based on true stuff, for the most part. Obviously, it's Hollywood, but it's just about this family that was like, Zac Efron's a wrestler, so was all his brothers. They get kind of famous in the early like WWE days, and their whole family just goes downhill, and it's emotionally brutal to watch.
I think you told me about this, actually.
It is emotionally brutal to watch.
Don't like his brothers die one at a time or something?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't want to spoil it, but you can kind of put it together, yeah. And I remember my sister and I one night like sat down and we're like, oh, let's watch a movie. That was not English. Let's watch a movie. So we're like, cool. We look through. Oh, Zac Efron in a wrestling movie. What's that? Cool. Yeah, let's watch it. And then the next 2 hours, it's like, why did I click play? Like, it's so sad, dude. And this movie's probably like that.
I think this is a very topical story because of all the plane crashes that have happened lately.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of those. Wonder what's going on.
There has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that?
They're flying those meatballs, dude. That's why.
Those lead sleds.
Yeah.
With women pilots. No, I'm kidding. I mean, they are women
I thought
pilots.
they just couldn't drive.
No, dude. There's this comedian who had this really good bit. I wish I knew his name. I don't even know who he was, but I think you sent me this clip actually.
Maybe.
But he was talking about like he was talking about the plane crash in Philadelphia, was it? I think that it was a female pilot.
I did send you this.
Yeah,
So funny.
He was like, he brought up how it was a female pilot, and the audience started booing. And was like, no, hold on. While she was in the air, while they were in the air, she was doing great.
Oh yeah.
But then the second they hit the ground, it's because women can't drive. The second they hit the ground, she crashed. It went haywire.
I totally forgot about that. That's funny, dude. Oh
man. Well, it's another good episode.
It's a good one.
People enjoy this. I really gotta pee, so I think this is a good point to end this.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for listening.
We're back.
So we are back.
We're so back. Yeah.
I am moving, so it might get a little shaky here again.
But then we're gonna be
for
back.
a couple weeks. But then after that,
we'll be back.
We're back for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully we can stay real consistent after this.
Yeah, I'm down.
But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. Enjoy it, especially if we kind of start steering more towards just talking about what we want to talk about instead of me having to write a really long story for every single episode.
It's probably a lot of work.
It is. It's so much.
Yeah.
It's so much. It's a lot. But yeah, thanks for listening. This was a fun one. West Andy's plane crash. If your plane statistically has a 1 in 3 chance of crashing when you get on it, probably don't get on that plane. That's my final words for this episode.
If the lady that's checking your ticket to get on the plane says, "Oh, look, we call that one the meatball," turn around, go home.
Oh yeah, and go check out Alex's music.
Yes,
his new song.
You should.
It's fire. But yeah, that's it for this one. Alex, you got anything?
Oh, it's been fun. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Awesome. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening. Peace.
Guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
There is no constitutional issue here. The command of the Constitution is plain.
And the people